Welcome to the Rustenburg Podcast.
We're back again. This time we're sitting on podcast number 46, which I'm very proud. And I'm finally back again with Lijani. Can I call you by your first name?
Yes, that is fine.
Because girls are watching this. Do they know your real name or not?
Some of them do, but they just call me Mrs. Wally if they're lucky. That is a privilege that they earn through the year.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yes,
I've
happy
missed
to be
you.
back.
I've
Yes.
missed you.
It's been a while.
Your laugh, your smile, your aura, your energy. Where do you get that from?
Oh, I must say it's probably my mom and dad. I'll take credit. I got my dad's extrovertedness in a little bit, but also my mom's sensitivity in a way.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good combo.
Yeah. Today I sent an email to all staff members and I was like, hey, if you're having a blue Monday, if you're having a sad day, there's a pick-me-up treat. So you can just come in and have this treat to make you feel better. You don't even have to say anything what's making you sad. But I feel like you'll never get to that pick-me-up treat, will you? Because you always like very up and happy.
I just hide it well. I just hide it well.
Yeah.
But when we're at school, I think we're here for the girls. So, I think what energy you bring to the classroom makes a big difference in the message you'll get out. So I think it's important that when you're in front of those girls, yes, you are going to have bad days, but you do try and, make it as fun and exciting as possible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you want them to enjoy learning. So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Again, I'm not alone. I'm not only with Lijani. I am with Claire Lawrence-Naidoo. Yes. Right. She's joining us. She is, I don't know, we've got this thing that says once a Rustenburg, always a Rustenburg. So I don't even want to say you're an ex-Rustenburg parent, because like she'll always be with us.
Yes.
I'm reading from your signature. You can correct me before we do the introduction. So it says here that you're a principal scientific officer.
Yes.
What is that?
So I work in the chemistry department at UCT, and I'm one of a number of scientific officers that are involved in running the practical courses for our undergraduate students. Okay. So that's sort of forms a major part of my job.
Yeah. Okay. No, perfect. I think I love the fact that you did a good job in terms of introducing yourself. No one can do it better than you, But I want to jump into it. The topic today we're speaking about, we know on the 11th of Feb, if I'm not mistaken, it's International Women and Girls in Science, right? Which is such a huge topic for schools, right? And maybe let's speak about, I want to start about the background. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your interest in science. Where were you born? How did you get this interest in science? When you hear a lot of people in different careers, especially engineering, and you ask the parent, they'll tell you, this child used to assemble my TV, bring it back, and do all of those things, So I'm quite interested to find, where did that interest come from you?
For me, okay. So for me, it wasn't a case of I was always going to be a scientist.
Yeah.
It was actually more than anything, it was sort of heading more towards accounting.
Yes.
But
the numbers.
The numbers. It was the numbers. And at school, I think that's sort of when the interest really started. And also I had parents that were very nurturing. Books was a really big thing in our house. So we were always going to the library. My parents always bought books. This is back in the day before the internet.
Yeah.
So it was like, books. How do the world work? How does nature work? Encyclopedias and all those sorts of things. And so I think with time, I sort of developed this interest in how does the world work?
Yeah.
And sort of so my interest in science kind of more, it was sort of developed. It was it evolved.
Yeah.
If you like, it wasn't something like, from when I was little, that was it. I was going to be a scientist, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was sort of evolved with time. Yeah.
And can you tell us? Lijani, and you will jump in here. Do girls find science boring or exciting? And before you jump in and answer that, right? Let's go back to Claire, and let's speak about what are some of the things that you enjoyed in your foundation phase, if you remember, or even high school in terms of science,
I think the things what I enjoyed was sort of learning about things that connected to the real world.
Yeah.
So it was learning about like how does a battery work?
Yeah.
You know, how does electricity work? Things that
Yeah.
I could relate to the world around me.
Yeah.
Because I think often, you know, we hear science, we think, oh, that's hard.
Yes.
It's difficult. I can't get that. But
Yeah.
it's around us all, you know, everywhere. Everything, you know, the clothes we wear and what we eat and everything, you know, how our water's processed. It all involves science or engineering in some way.
Yeah.
And I sort of enjoyed that. And also sort of, that curiosity, I think, about how things work.
Yeah.
And, I think that was, and I still remember like as a student, when I was doing my postgraduate work and that, you know, that's sort of making things that had never been made before. You know, it was new research and like then learning new techniques and that was the exciting thing, that this was something that had never been done before. And you are sort of starting things out, you know, for the first time. Nobody's ever done this. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you speak about the exciting part, and even at my old age, I sit in the window right where I can see where the grade 6 playground is, and I think they were doing a science experiment with Mrs. Pike, and they were doing a volcano. But they were super excited, and it was so beautiful to see that experience, you know. And again, like things like science is hard, maths is hard. It's like sometimes we internalize, we start believing that, you know. But Lijani, speak to us as a teacher.
Yes.
Is science hard?
I think I do think it's the approach you take, and I do think if I look back at my schooling, you know, I came from an under-resourced school, so we didn't have a lab. We didn't get to do experiments and things like that. So I didn't really have a love for science, I would say, when I was in primary school. My love for science was more growing up on the farm. You know, with my dad, you know, you know, the ground is important, and how you look after the ground is important. So things like that was important. Learning about the ecosystem and what plants they need to take care of the other plants and the animals and those type of things. So the biology and real life experience is what grew my love for science. So I think depending on obviously how you teach science, I think girls do come in with a little bit of a mindset that science is tough, but once you can connect them to real life authentic experiences and you do lab practicals, to see that excitement in them, that's what we need, like to spark that curiosity for those questions. I think that is, that's the aim, and it pushes you as a teacher sometimes out of your comfort zone, because you need to go and find things to do, and you have to test it yourself in order to first see, is it work? Is it going to work? But if you can get that right, where you can take them to the lab every now and then, and you can do hands-on experiments, to get that curiosity going. I think that's where the love for science starts.
Have you taught boys, by the way, or is it all?
I have taught boys as well. I've been at a co-ed school as well. And I think there is obviously that stereotype about girls in science, but I think kids nowadays, because of social media and everything being instant, you need to make it real for them in order to grab their attention. You need to.
And Claire, let's speak about career perspective. What's happening from a varsity point of view and after varsity? Are we seeing a lot of ladies in science? I had a conversation with an architect the other day who said to me, listen, when we started this journey, there were about 10 of us ladies, but then at graduation point, there were only 3. And there's definitely a gap that's happening there. But I don't know if it's the same thing when it comes to science.
Well, when you wanted some numbers, I thought I'd do a little bit of digging and just to see. So I looked at the matric. So over just to start there. So we had about 900,000 students write the matric exam. So of them, about over 250,000 did maths, and about just over 200,000 did physical science. And if we then look at the split between that, it's really, really encouraging, actually. So for maths, about 62% were female
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
and 38% were male. And the same for physical science.
Love
Wow.
that.
62% female and 38% male, which shows you that girls are taking maths and science and doing it
Yeah.
for matric. And when we get to university then, so that's also encouraging. So
Yeah.
women currently make up nearly 50% of all students in the STEM
Wow.
courses. So
I
that's,
love that.
again, really, really good to hear. And for the graduation period, so for the last 5 years, basically from 2021 to 2025, women constituted about 43 to 44% of the STEM graduates. But there does seem to be a problem when it comes to actually going into the workplace, which is interesting. So it seems that only about 23 to 29% of senior professional engineering and research roles, that women are in those roles, STEM roles. So something is happening so even though we're getting a large number now graduating, there's some...
When it comes to the opportunities.
Yes, maybe it's the opportunities, or maybe women are going into different things. Because I think this is the thing with science subjects and doing science and maths for like matric.
Yeah.
And even continuing to do like an engineering degree or doing a science degree, is that training that you get is not only do you learn your field specifics, but you learn all these other soft skills. You're learning problem solving. You're learning critical thinking. You know, you're learning how to work in teams. You're learning to present your information. All of these skills are highly sought after by, companies out there. And so I think many of the people that, ladies that study, women that study these things later, maybe go into different fields, afterwards. Yeah.
Cool. And then, Lijani, from that, let's speak about the idea of what's happening in the classroom. That relationship with the learners, the parents, and the teacher. Because I know there's some kids that might say, no, science is not my favorite.
Yes.
Or it's hard. And,
hard,
and I know there's parents that says, okay, it's hard for my daughter, let's move.
Yes.
Or there are parents that speak to the teacher, can we find tutor? Can we do something around that?
Yes.
What's the importance of that role in order for us to encourage learners to do science?
I think it goes back to curiosity.
Yeah.
I think when the kids are little, and they ask you, why is the sky blue and why is the tree green and why is the leaves falling off, and all of those things, is that you actually, you own into that, and you keep that curiosity going. And I think that is the role of parents as well. Even now with girls growing older, look at the topics that is covered in class. I think it's important. Look at when we do, for example, in grade 6, we just finished photosynthesis, and we just did, how plants and the food we eat is so much related. And then we're moving on to the ecosystems, for example. When we went on an outing to Oudtshoorn Eco Village, where the girls got to experience the dirt and the soil and the food and how it is grown. And I think it's small conversations that can just carry on at home as well, exposure to earthly things. You don't need to be a scientist to teach your child about science. I think that's important. I mean, like I said, my dad is a farmer, but I learned so much from him because of basic skills that later turned into science. I think it's just keep that curiosity going. I think that is important, to just own in on that development. Have those conversations. When a child asks you a question, if you don't know the answer, say, well, let's go and find it out together. Let's go and see how we can find out this answer. Because yes, Google is amazing, but that sort of kills, I think, the curiosity sometimes as well, because it's just so instant. The answer is just so instant all the time.
But sometimes it's accuracy. You
I
like, get your things on Google. Dr. Google, once you Google your symptoms, it will tell you you've got what and all of the things.
So I think like have fun, have fun with your kids. Like social media is a tool that also can embrace science. There's such cool little things you can do with little ones at home. Absolutely. Using like a candle and a glass and water, and there you there you have experiments, and ask those sort of questions. I think it's just things like that. You don't have to be a scientist to cultivate it. Yeah.
So while you're at that, let's now imagine there's a girl sitting here.
Yes.
We have to sell science to her.
Yeah.
One, why is it important to celebrate or to recognize rather ladies in science? Girls, women, ladies in science, one. Number two, what is the benefit of doing science? She's sitting right here. She's asking you those two questions.
Well, I think if we look at history, we don't often hear about the women in science.
Yeah.
I think our books are written, and there is, if I have a little clip and actually when we do science and history, talking about that as well, where we show them about females from the past. But I think that's important. Like, we need to have current role models that will spark that curiosity. And I would say to her, like, you can be the future, obviously. You can be the future. You can be the one that comes up with a invention, a cure, something groundbreaking. So I think that's important. And also just talking about how much opportunities will come her way with science. Because with science, the careers you can go into, it's
everything.
It's everything. It is everything. And you can change your mind and you can change course, but you'll still be involved in science. I think that is it. It's like it doesn't limit you. It doesn't limit you. And
then Claire, maybe back to you, the same question. The benefits and why should we recognize or celebrate rather ladies and women and girls in science?
Okay, so I think, to start off with the benefits, it's like obviously the first thing is that you don't limit your career options. And I think it's, it's always quite hard, I think in grade 9 when they have to sort of make this big decision about their future. And by cutting out subjects, by not doing pure maths, by not doing physical science, you do limit yourself. You can't go into engineering, you can't go into medicine, you can't, go and do a BSc. So that's obviously the first thing. But as I mentioned again, earlier, the soft skills that you pick up, the problem-solving skills that you're going to get, how to write up reports, how to break down complex problems, how you learn how to look for patterns in things. And also the benefits, I think, of not being afraid of technology. Society today technology is racing ahead of us. If we think about what's happened in the last 10, even 10 years, how things have advanced, and now with AI and how things are going to jump ahead again. And, by doing physical science and maths at school, is that you don't have that fear of it. You know that, okay, even if you go into another field one day, you're not going to be scared of it. Because you have some understanding of it. And and I think why it's important also, like you mentioned, science and engineering has been predominantly quite a male-dominated
industry.
And so we need girls in science. We need young women in science to bring different perspectives into science. We have different skills that we bring. We have compassion. We have social skills. And science has changed from, if you think, I think everyone has, when you think of the nutty professor, or maybe Albert Einstein look with the grey hair, the glasses, and beavering away in a lab somewhere. That's what we think of as a scientist on his own. Doing things. And that's not how things work anymore. Now it's most sort of research groups, it's like they're working together across different departments, different different faculties across in the country, different universities, even across the world. And so it's big groups that are working together. And so that's part of it. You've got to learn to, work with these big groups. You've got to learn to be able to promote your science and get it out there as well. Because it's all good to have a fantastic idea, but you've also got to be able to learn to sell it. So,
that's true.
These are all things that why we need women.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned a very important topic about perspective, right?
Yes.
Albert Einstein, this is how it's supposed to look
Yes.
like. It goes to my next question then to say, where are the scientists, where are the ladies scientists, where are they not marketed correctly? Are they not PR'd? Are they not celebrated and given their flowers? Where are they? Why are we not talking about them? Why are we not celebrating them enough? Or is it a societal issue? And you might not even be able to answer that. And
I don't know. I mean, I think there has certainly been, there is definitely moves to do that more.
Yeah.
So, at the university level, there is funding that is for women in science to encourage women to study more. And you can see the numbers. I mean, I think we can see that with the increase in postgraduate students and that are often, and particularly in biological and even health sciences, the number of women students are actually, outstripping the men now. So it's definitely, I think it is happening, and there's awards, different. You do see that there are awards for women, recognizing women in that, but I think that doesn't get necessarily down to the school level. But it definitely is happening now. There is certainly this talk about women having their voice, I think, in science.
Okay. No, perfect. And then, Lijani, what gives you hope about the future of women in STEM?
I think for me, it's as I mentioned earlier, when you're in the lab and those girls just soak up the whole experience. I think that gives me hope. They are curious, they are asking, they are excited. Their first thing they ask is, when are we going to the lab again? And I'm like, let's just get through the curriculum first. But that excites me, and that excites me. And I feel like at our school as well, that it's starting, that we are starting to take, I think, STEM more seriously. We are seeing it, even in the younger grades, where they are starting to do small little experiments, but from it's play, but it's science. And I think that excites me, because we are an all-girls school, and I mean, we are only one of a few. So if we can keep that cultivated, keep that curiosity growing, and then when they go off to high school, those foundations are set. And when it comes to grade 9 and they choose science, that there is an actual passion for it, because as primary school, we've tried to cultivate that love. It wasn't a case of we just work through it in a textbook. I think that is important, and we as teachers do need to put ourselves a little bit out there to try and get that going, to try and use the lab, because we have the resource, and it's important. And same with the grade 7s. I mean, I know last year they went to go visit UCT, and they spent a whole day there with the students, and I think that is the small little things that will make a lasting impact.
Okay, and then, it's all good and rosy. What are the challenges? What are the barriers? Were you finding, and I'm using the term challenges on purpose, on purpose, because we overcome challenges. We continuously create dialogue where we speak about this is the challenges, maybe from policy point of view, maybe from WCT or wherever. What challenges are you facing in the classroom or as a teacher in terms of promoting STEM?
I think, unfortunately, our curriculum is quite still outdated. And there's not always a lot of flexibility in what you can and can't do in the curriculum. So, we as teachers, we try our best, because we need to stick to what the topic is about. For example, but, not everything you can always find great, exciting experiments that's age appropriate, I think, as well. That relates to the topic, and and finding different venues outside of the classroom that you can also utilize to teach the girls a little bit more beyond your teaching experience. I'm a firm believer as well, they learn more from not just the teacher. I think if you give them external exposure, and I think it's that fluency, because STEM is that fluency between science and tech and maths. That thread that needs to actually be strung together curriculum-wise in order for us as teachers to run with it. I think we are definitely trying. We are starting with coding and robotics. We are doing technology in grade 7. So it's definitely, we are trying, but I do think, our curriculum is still very much limited and outdated. I think, there's certain things we can teach the girls that's a little bit beyond the textbook. So trying to cover what needs to be covered, and then try and extend them as much as you can with the resources that we have.
I like the fact that you said that, because for me, and this is how actually your name came about, I went to one of our learning specialists. I was like, hey, I'm looking for someone in science and all of those things. But because we're breaching that gap through enrichment, and she told me that you did something with the girls. Maybe let's touch on what you did with the girls. Was it last year, 2 years back?
Okay. Yes. So I think they came. Unfortunately, I think I was away, so I didn't get to come, but I helped organize it. But I know they came and they did some experiments. It's like with pH and looking at just taking cabbage leaves. Something that you can do at home, and making an indicator with that solution, and then putting it in like lemon juice and vinegar, and seeing the different effects in that. We also have in our department, we have a schools outreach program. So this was also kind of part of that, where we go to also underprivileged schools, and we do the same thing. We try and bring some of the concepts that they are learning and do something like that fun with them, so they also get to experience things. And because obviously they don't have access to laboratories and things like that.
At that level.
So that is what we are sort of also trying to do, is trying to get science out there. And the main thing is like you were talking about, science is fun. We've got to change that perception that it's hard and it's boring and it's and I think what has also been like encouraging for me to see is even at preschool levels, most of them have now like the groups that come around and do science experiments. So those first interactions with science are fun. Unlike I think when I was at school, it wasn't that. It was like the school book, and it was like hard, and and I think now there's that there is certainly, and like hearing you speak, that there's certainly that drive to make science fun, so it's accessible to everyone, and I think that's the thing, that they feel that it's accessible to them.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Lijani. Closing remarks just on that camera, if you've got anything else to add.
Anything else to say? I would just say, girls, be curious, ask those questions, ask them 1,000 times over, because curiosity is what's going to get you somewhere in life one day.
For a moment there, I thought you said curiosity is going to
kill the cat. Maybe in science, I don't know. It might be in science.
And here your closing remarks on
my
camera.
My closing remarks. So I think science and technology needs you. You bring different perspective, and science and technology needs that. It needs your ideas. It needs your creativity. It needs your inspiration. And science can be fun and interesting. And so I think really think about science. Think about doing science, even if you don't do it for a future career, but think about doing it for school, because you learn so much about the world, and it really is going to help you in whatever you do one day. Those skills that you are going to learn from doing science and maths at school are something that are going to really set you in such a strong place for your future.
Okay, there we have it, girls. You had it here for the first time, and this is interesting for me. I get to learn so much myself. So I think the knowledge that's been passed today, lean on it. Mrs. Wallander is always here. You can knock at her door, if you are curious. And I think that's it from my side. Until next time, we're out of here. Thank you.
Thank you.